Welcome to My Weekly Mixtape, a podcast that takes the classic mixtape approach to building a modern playlist. I'm your host, Brian Colburn. Joining me tonight from both the Neatcast as well as Podcasters Assemble podcasts is Zack Derby, somebody who I've known and gone back and forth with since the beginning of the Playlist Wars days, and we're finally, for the first time ever, doing an episode together, and I am so stoked about that. Zack, thank you so much for joining me on My Weekly Mixtape.
Brian, I'm happy and honored to finally be here. It's been fun to watch you as a content creator grow and evolve from where you and Gomez were with Playlist Wars and where you are now with the My Weekly Mixtape. You know, being on Neatcast and a few others that I'm involved in, we're not as unique, I think, in my opinion, as what you do. I don't really see any other content creators, at least in my field of podcast and viewing, doing what you're doing the way that you do it. You know, we're comedy, or at Podcasters Assemble, we're talking about movies, but I love your approach, and you change it. It's always different every week, and I love it.
Yeah, it's usually how my musical playlists go, but thank you very much for the kind words. And now, for the first time in so many years, I get to ask you my first-timers question, which is, Zack, what does the word mixtape mean to you?
Well, Brian, I am old enough to remember tapes prior to making the mix CDs, which I did do a fair amount of those because, honestly, that became a bit easier. But the mixtape was the old cassette boombox radio, popping in the tape, and just like everybody else, like waiting for the right song, and then you'd hear it because most everything we had was a hot AC, CHR. They were playing the hits, the new music, and you'd wait for it, and you'd hit it, and you'd record it, and if you're really good, it almost sounded like you knew what you were doing. But sometimes you'd miss a couple seconds here or there, or the DJ, the jock would come on the air, which didn't ruin it for me. I know some people hated that. But stop talking over the music. Well, that's what radio is, unfortunately. Sorry.
I mean, I'm sorry. If a radio DJ could talk up to the opening lyrics
hit that
post, to me, that is money right there. That is a skill.
There's training wheels now with radio. It's so freaking easy to hit the post now with the software that they give you. I don't necessarily complain because I remember the reel-to-reel. I remember the tracks. I remember the carts. I remember all this. I was still using those when I came in, but they were going out. I'm not complaining about where technology is, but as respect to the guys and girls that did that just off pure sound and knowledge of the music. Just kudos to them. My owner is like that. He started as an on-air jock, and he knows like how many intro seconds. 48 seconds. How do you know that?
Well, tonight we are talking about a very divisive topic, and I'm going to say it's a divisive topic before we even record it, because we recently dropped an episode, Guilty Pleasures of the 1980s.
I heard it, and I loved it. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to take the same approach, so I'm going to start by giving the same PSA I gave before the 1980s episode, which was episode 67, if you want to check that out. But I want to stress that, at least for me personally, I have never and will never feel guilt listening to a song that I enjoy. But coming from a podcasting perspective, people search for the term guilty pleasures. People have requested guilty pleasures of this show. It's just the terminology for a song that is otherwise known as songs that people seem to hate but you love. And people don't search for that phrase. So, yes, I am pandering to the masses by saying that this is a Guilty Pleasures episode. But for me tonight, there's zero guilt. I love all of these songs, but a lot of publications hate them. Zack, what approach did you take coming up with your tracks for tonight?
So this was actually tough because, just like you said, guilty pleasure, you're implying that I like something that other people don't. And for me, it was hard for me to go, all right, does the public really hate this? Because I know there are songs that the public really hates, but then I went, do I actually really like those songs? So for me, that was tough. But I know I had an easier time remembering back in the 90s, yes, I was born in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s. So the 90s were my jam. And I remember the music that I would like that I went, I don't know if I want to play that around my friends. So that was my approach. I didn't share what albums I got off the Columbia House 20 CD sign up thing that you may or may not have paid for back in the day. But that was my approach. Try to think of what do I secretly enjoy that maybe I didn't want my friends at the time to know. And my objective tonight is for us to create a playlist so that you and I and everyone else are going to be listening to it going, what do you mean this is a guilty pleasure? And they drop an F-bomb and they just sing along because they don't care. Because they're just got the window down. If they had hair, it's flowing. I don't. And they're just going to have a blast with our playlist. That's my goal today.
All right. And mine, I'm taking it one small step further. I went and Googled the most hated songs of the 1990s.
You said that.
And I found lists from Rolling Stone magazine, NPR, NME, Ranker. And I just looked through them and went, wrong. So I've got about 45 wrongs in my list that we're going to try to whittle down to 20 and make right tonight. So let's get down to business. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Zach and I are curating the ultimate guilt-free guilty pleasures of the 90s mixtape, and we're going to use that old cassette deck approach. Zach, as my special guest, will begin side A with his first song choice, and then I'll add a song that I feel best follows up that choice. We'll then flip-flop choosing songs until we've mapped out 10 songs for side A. We'll then give our mixtape a proverbial flip, and we'll map out side B, only this time I'll kick things off with Zach choosing second. Our overall goal for the episode is to craft the best guilt-free guilty pleasures of the 90s mixtape possible through only 20 songs. At the end of the show, you can take our conversation to the next level by visiting the episode page at myweeklymixtape.com to give our final mixtape a listen via the embedded playlist. And if you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help me out by either telling a friend, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a Patreon mixtaper at patreon.com/myweeklymixtape. There you can enjoy ad-free episodes of the show, become a future guest, and so much more, such as chiming in on each week's episode topics, which is what I'm going to do right now, as several of the Patreon mixtapers chimed in with songs they would use to kick off a guilt-free Guilty Pleasures of the 90s mixtape, and I want to give a few quick shout-outs. Ben from the Too Vague podcast chimed in with Scooby Snacks by the Fun Lovin' Criminals. Jen Fink chimed in with Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping or Limp Bizkit's Nookie, depending on how we want to set the tone. And speaking of Limp Bizkit, Tom Hutchinson chimed in with Break Stuff or Hadaway's What Is Love. Chad Lamassa chimed in with Wannabe from the Spice Girls, saying the song is infectious and fun. And to that, Zebrahead does a killer punk version. If you want to hear that, go check it out. Philip Bergman chimed in with Step by Step by New Kids on the Block. And Sean Goff chimed in with Walk This World by Heather Nova. And over on the brand new My Weekly Mixtape Discord server, which you can find in the show notes here, as well as the main menu at myweeklymixtape.com, there was a last-minute chime-in of Escape Club's I'll Be There. Just a reminder, if you want to chime in for future My Weekly Mixtape episodes, you could join the Mixtaper family at patreon.com/myweeklymixtape. So, Zach, with that musical food for thought out in the atmosphere, everyone cleansed their souls of the guilt. This is a safe space. I'm officially going to press the record button on our mixtape and pass the mic over to you. What song are you unabashedly diving into to kick off side A?
Boy, this is a little bit of pressure. It's the first one they're going to hear. And I was going back and forth going, oh, man, do I want to start slow? Do I want to start fast? Do I want to start annoying? Do I want to start with something that people go, oh, nice. Ah, gosh. And this one, I'm just going to start with, because this was the one when you said guilty pleasure song. This is one of the first ones that came to mind because I got a reaction from my friends off of, again, a mix CD I had made when we were just playing it, hanging out. It was Butthole Surfers' Pepper. And nice. The look I got as it started, all their heads turning because I was the one that made the mixtape. And at first I was like, oh, they like it. But then I saw their faces and I went, oh, not fans of the Butthole Surfers, I see. So Butthole Surfers Pepper is what I'll be starting with, if that's okay by you.
Oh, by all means, man. I'm actually shocked that one would come up as a guilty pleasure song because I think maybe more that the band name was just outside the norm than anything else.
To me, again, I had the approach of going off my personal experience than just necessary. I do have some that people hate or can't stand, but for me, it was one that I really loved, and just that reaction went, oh, this is now my guilty pleasure song.
Well, I think it's a great way to start things off. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's got that definite 90s vibe to it. And God, that one never even came up on my radar. So coming out of that, I'm scrolling through my list and I'm going, that won't work. That won't work. That won't work. However, I found something that just might.
Okay.
So what I think I'm going to do is tap into the kind of the weirdness of Butthole Surfers Pepper and slow it down a little bit for a track 2, which is a weird way to start a playlist. But out of every song on my list, this is the only one that actually makes some musical sense. And this song was ranked number 3 on BuzzFeed's 20 worst songs of the 90s. Now, if a song is that bad, Weird Al Yankovic will not parody it. And on his box set, permanent record, Al in the Box, he closed the box set out by parodying this song as headline news. And I'm going to go with the Crash Test Dummies. It was a distinctly 90s song. And I think the biggest problem with the song is that it gives people the idea that that's all that the Crash Test Dummies are about. And they're an incredible band. And I feel like this song just got so big, it almost became the issue in and of itself. Because this is a great group. They're still constantly on the road touring. And if a song was that bad, I don't think Weird Al would do a parody of it. So
he's pretty particular with what he chooses. And he hits some of the ones that you know and love. So it's a nice simple parody. And then others are thinkers. And he is very meticulous with his approach. At least that's how I always understood his approach to me.
Agree. And this is probably headline news, at least one of the few instances where when I play Weird Al songs for my kids now, I kind of skip that one because unless you were alive during that era, a lot of those stories, I'd have to sit there and pause the song and explain the stories he's talking about in headline news, because that was a very dated comedic song for Weird Al, which is a lot different than a lot of his other stuff that has a more timeless nature to it. But we're not talking about Weird Al. We're talking about Crash Test Dummies. No guilt in this song. It's awesome. And I think it's a great follow-up to Pepper.
No, I agree. It is a very slower song to start, so it follows very well.
So what are you going to follow up Pepper and with? Veruca Salt?
This is going to be the slowest playlist ever. It's just all under like 60 beats a minute. It's awesome. No, I think I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. Gosh, but what do I want to bring it up with? Ooh, because that one I want to use, but I'm going to hold on to that because that's a little that just shoots out like a cannon. I'm going to start with this one because I remember hearing it and it was popular, and then I think it started to wane on people because it was being played everywhere, especially after A Night at the Roxbury came out and it's Hadaway, What Is Love? And I remember hearing it, and it was, you heard this at all the school dances and everything, but it quickly wore out its welcome once the movie hit and everybody was playing it everywhere, and then you couldn't get away from it. And I still enjoy it. It's repetitive, but you just, all of a sudden you're bopping along to it and you're going, yeah, I'm listening. I'm still listening to it.
I absolutely love that song, man. I mean, even before A Night at the Roxbury, I had this on cassette single. Like, I really like this song. This is an absolute dance anthem worldwide. This was a worldwide hit. I think the only thing that this song suffers from is the fact that it was so popular, it just got played to the point of nauseum. And I think that might be a lot of the things that we touch on tonight, that these songs aren't necessarily guilty pleasures. They were just so big and so unescapable that people almost felt bombarded by them.
Yep, and there is a song. I'll wait until, I hope it doesn't go on the list because I can't stand it. But if it does, I'll tell the story then. If not, I'll tell you about a certain song that I can't bring myself to add into the rotation of my station because I just can't. It was so overplayed that I don't ever want it to come back on the radio. It was just that awful.
Well, I'm going to go with one to follow that up with a song that, according to a lot of publications, is a quote-unquote bad song. This was ranked number 1 on Rolling Stone Reader's poll of the worst songs of the 90s. So if we're going for the cleanup spot here, we might as well go for a home run.
Sure.
Number 17 on BuzzFeed's 20 Worst Songs of the 90s. Number 2 on Bustle's 18 Annoying 90s Songs that we all listen to obsessively. And number 1 on American Songwriters' 10 Worst Songs of the 90s. Now, if you were alive in 2023...
I was.
You were. So was I.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you would remember the fact that Barbie was inescapable.
Oh, no.
And yes, we are going there. Aqua,
Okay.
Barbie girl coming out of What Is Love. This song I never thought was bad. I always enjoyed that Euro dance sound.
Yep.
Like Around the World, La 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 La. All those songs with that very much similar sound, similar beat. I always thought this one was just novelty-esque enough that it was fun, but still danceable. You could still play this in a club and people would get into it. But it was just as much fun that it kind of crossed barriers. When it was played around younger audiences, the innuendos would go over their head. And I would have to assume if a punk band like Homegrown recorded a cover of it, usually you don't cover songs you hate. So while all of these places said it was the worst song ever, you got punk bands covering it, and then you fast forward 20-something years later, and the song is brought back into a revival through the Barbie movie and is now being celebrated for what it did back in the 90s. So while it's not my favorite song of the 90s, coming out of What Is Love will keep the dance vibe going a little bit longer.
Okay. All right. I feel that. Whew. Well, okay. I could also do something that's a little novelty, I guess. This is going to be from my extra category, but it was in there. And personally, I don't listen to this gentleman that much anymore. But when his first album came out, and I loved the man on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but when Will Smith dropped his first album, I got that and went, oh, wow, this is fun. This is interesting. But then the one that I think people dislike more than anything off of his first album was after Wild Wild West came out and hit Will Smith doing Wild Wild West. It's one of those that's still, you hear it start and it's got that, it's a little bit of an earworm and it just sticks with you. And no matter what you try to do, it's still stuck in there and you're singing all about Wild Wild West.
I love the original from Kool Moe Dee in the 80s. So when this one came out, like, I remember the original. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of like an updated version of that song. So to me, when I think about it through my 80s hip hop lens, when I was in middle school, going to middle school dances, there's a part of me that appreciates that song. But I am definitely much more of a Getting Jiggy With It fan, if you were to ask me. Because that one, to this day, I still genuinely love, but I could see where Wild Wild West would get more of the hate, movie and song, actually.
Yes, and that's a guilty pleasure movie of mine that, you know, if I haven't watched it in a long time, but I know it's not a very well-received movie, but I would sit down and watch it. It was peak Will Smith when he was becoming the Hollywood star. and I'll still go back and watch it. And Getting Jiggy With It is, I think, a better song that I do enjoy more, but for the guilty pleasure purposes, I think this fits a little bit better from my list.
All right. Well, following it up, I'm going to stick with this kind of rap, kind of hip-hop, almost pop hip-hop scene here. And I'm going to go with a song that ranked number 13 on Bustle's 18 Annoying 90s Songs That We All Listen to Obsessively. Now, I don't understand even that headline, Annoying Songs That We All Listen to Obsessively. It's almost like we were kind of torturing ourselves. However, I don't think this song was ever annoying, and I think there's a lot more love for this song than people are going to want to admit to. But at the time, there were a lot of children hip-hop artists. You had Another Bad Creation, who did Aisha and Playground. You had the Youngsters, which did Hip Hop Ride, and Cruise Pop, which featured tracks from Naughty by Nature. But I'm going to go with the one that became a thing because of the music video, and the Backwards Close, which we all probably tried at one point in middle school. Because everybody, when that opening to Crisscross's Jump hits, I don't care that people said it was annoying. I think people were almost ashamed to say we're enjoying kids rapping. But I think Crisscross scored the biggest hit of all of those child rappers. And it's something that the song has been used in movies. I remember it being a joke point in that movie with Justin Timberlake and, what was it, No Strings Attached?
I think so, yeah.
One of those movies where Friends with Benefits, No Strings. I'm not a big movie guy, so you're going to have to help me on that one. But it was Justin Timberlake and the one from That 70s Show.
Mila Kunis?
Mila Kunis. And there was a whole thing about Jump in that movie. I just remember that scene. But to me, the song had a great beat. Yes, they had a gimmick, but so does Kiss. And nobody complains about that. Or they do, but whatever. Crisscross Jump.
That's a good follow-up. All right. Well, I am going to go a different direction. But still, I think this is something, I know it's a type of music, but this is the one that stuck out in the 90s and really was the one that seemed to be the most popular. And you would hear it, not so much on the radio, but you would hear it at parties, dances, events. It was always being played. And that is Scatman John, Scatman.
Ooh, interesting pick. I'd actually love to take a minute and get your your deep lyrical analysis and perspective on this one.
I'm a scat man, skitty daddy dabba bop up boop, and that's it.
Yeah, not bad. I think it was we might have to. They might actually tag it for thinking that I played the original in the episode here. That was so lifelike. I mean, are you Scatman?
You know, you lie like my co-host on the Neatcast, and I like it.
All right. Well, we've got this kind of dance. I don't know how we went from Butthole. I don't know how I got Crash here. Test Dummies to Scatman.
I don't know, but I got stuck here. I'm now looking at my list going, how many of these are dance songs? And I'm looking going, probably a third of them are at least dance songs. So I don't know how I got to this.
All right. Well, I'm going to give us a huge record-scratching pivot point where we could go anywhere we want for the last two songs of the night. Because I've got a couple of tracks that are definitely weird.
Okay.
And I think coming out of Scatman, I think I could get away with this one. Because it is a kind of a rap song, kind of a dance song. And it was a 1999 single. And the song became so popular on MTV's Total Request Live that it went to number 1. Prompting MTV to have this artist, quote unquote, retire it. Why they did that, I have no idea, because the video was promoting another MTV network show, and the song became a hit that would have conceivably drove viewership, but I digress. And as Tom Green said, he wanted to at least give 98 Degrees a chance. I'm going with Tom Green, Lonely Swedish, the Bum Bum song. If Eminem interpolates parts of the song in both The Real Slim Shady and Without Me, with Eminem going as far as to wear a superhero costume similar to Tom Green. The song is a novelty hit, but it still gets a little bit of respect. If one of the greatest hip-hop artists ever pays homage to your novelty track, it has to have a place on a Guilty Pleasures playlist.
Man, you just unlocked a memory. I remember watching the Tom Green show. It is a Tom Green show. This is not the Green Tom show. And I remember when this song came out, and I remember watching the video and just laughing hysterically out of just Tom Green being Tom Green. And I forget when I grew out of Tom Green or he retired or canceled. I forget, but I just went up and looked up the video again and went, oh yeah, yep, there he is. He's doing his thing again. That's Tom Green.
I still have that song on several 90s playlists because I love when it just pops up randomly, and who's ever in the car with you goes, is that what I think it is? Because for a hot minute, you couldn't escape the song on MTV. It really became a movement, and I'm actually shocked that MTV didn't just ride that wave, because there were some pretty funny bits on Tom Green. I used to love the Man on the Street reporter where he would put dog crap into the microphone and then close it in and ask people questions. I thought that was one of the funniest things on the planet at the time.
Yeah, back then. I don't know if I would want that done to me.
But no. But back at the time, in the 90s in college, that skit was legendary.
It was. God. Now the memories are starting to unfold from the Rolodex. Another old term that's relevant now. Right, kids? Ha-ha.
Well, and plus, I mean, you could really go anywhere you want out of this song, because at this point, I just threw a grenade onto side A.
I know. What do I want to end with now?
Yeah, your last pick for side A.
Yeah. Gosh. This is tough. This is really tough, because I've got a bunch that I could go any direction. And some of these, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back to, this is certainly, I guess, not really a guilty pleasure per se, but it is something that I went, I didn't ever see myself as being a fan of this artist, but the more and more that I heard their music over their career, I went, all right, I'm not pop, but I like it. And for the 90s, I'm going to go with Michael Jackson's Black or White.
Oh.
And I was never a big Michael fan. But yeah, more and more I heard it, went, I like it. I can kind of equate Michael in the 90s, now that I go back and listen, is kind of like where Lady Gaga is for me now. I don't listen to her music, but I respect her as an artist and what she has accomplished and what she's done. And she can perform. She's a hell of a performer and an artist, but she's not my cup of tea. Michael wasn't either for the most part.
I am on the other side of that. I was a big Michael Jackson fan in the 80s. I thought the video for Black and White used technology that I had never seen before. And
with the face changes and everything.
It was mind-blowing at the time, pre-CGI. I mean, you think about that video now, I'm sure somebody probably can whip it up in AI in 30 minutes. But at the time, this was like some groundbreaking shit that was happening. And the song was catchy. Slash played guitar on it. So I got that little bit of the rock edge into the mix. But it was definitely a pop song and a little bit of a different vibe from the Bad album. And I still think the song holds up. And where do you go from Michael Jackson? Because that's one of the biggest names. So I have to really hit a home run to close out side A.
Sorry to put you in this position.
Yeah, I'm going to go with one that I have firsthand experience, that as soon as I say the name of the song, people are going to start getting angry with me. But I have seen firsthand on many Colburn and Company occasions, people genuinely love the song and they sing along with it unabashedly. But when you say it, it's going to follow the crisscross line a little bit here, because this was a group that was made up of younger kids that just happened to play pop rock music, and you could not escape in the 90s the Hanson brothers and Bop reached number 6 on Rolling Stone's Reader's Poll of the Worst Songs of the 90s and American Songwriters' 10 Worst Songs of the 90s. Number 8 on BuzzFeed's The 20 Worst Songs of the 90s. Man, I'm not going to lie. Hanson was one of those bands, that first album was very much geared towards like the New Kids on the Block. It was the Justin Bieber of that time, only it was a pop trio. If you put on some later Hanson albums, the three brothers are ridiculously talented. They're incredible songwriters. There's a video out there that they recreate Shake Your Tail Feather from the original Blues Brothers movie with one of their original songs.
Really?
Yes, and the song is called Thinking About Something. And they do kind of an homage to the Blues Brothers. And the song is so infectious and so catchy that I think it would blow a lot of people's minds. Now, the reason I put Mbop here, usually when Colburn and Company closes a show, we do a little mashup of songs. And it starts off with What I Got by Sublime.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, it goes into Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping. And then it goes back into What I Got. And then it goes into Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Nice.
And it goes back into What I Got. Then it goes into Sugar Ray's Fly. And from there, we go into Mbop. And the first time we did it, we literally said to ourselves, there's a good chance we're going to get shit thrown at us if we try this. And when we started doing it, everybody turned and their faces lit up, guys and girls. And everyone started singing Mbop at the top of their lungs. And to me, that spoke a little nostalgia. I don't know what it is, but people love the song. And Busted, which is a UK group, recorded a 2.0 punk version of the song last year with the members of Hanson. And it's actually, it's a bop, dude. Like, they did a really good job with it.
I would like to hear the punk version of Mbop. Sometimes I like hearing like a slightly different, harder take on stuff, like Phil Collins and Invisible Touch.
Oh, yeah, Genesis.
Like, you hear his version, and you're like, okay, man, it'd be great if I heard a rock version. And I've heard some independent artist actually do a really good rock version of that, and I go, I like this. I like this more than I thought I would. So to hear a punk version of Mbop, I am intrigued.
Definitely look that one up. The band is Busted. It's called Mbop 2.0. And there you have it, folks. Love it or hate it, our guilt-free Guilty Pleasures of the 90s Side A mix, which kicked off with Butthole Surfer's Pepper, Crash Test Dummies, Hadaway's What Is Love, Aqua's Barbie Girl, Will Smith's Wild Wild West, Criss Cross Jump, Scatman John's Scatman, Tom Green's Lonely Swedish, the Bum Bum Song, Michael Jackson's Black or White, and Hanson's Mbop. Head over to myweeklymixtape.com to hear all the songs we've discussed in this mix through the playlist embedded on the episode page. Now, Zach, at the beginning of the show, you talked a little bit about Neatcast. Why don't you let listeners know a little bit about what you guys do over there and where they can find the show?
So I've been with Neatcast for a little while, and it is we like to call ourselves a comedy podcast. I don't know if we're actually funny, but we have a good time doing it. We're very good friends with Bobby, Rick, and Griff over at Effin' Cultured.
Yep.
So we switch out guests left and right. We're constantly hazing each other. And we have a little bit different structure where we have what we call segments, and we each take a segment of an area that we just find interesting or stuff that we want to present. And I usually handle the more recent pop culture type news that you're going to find in the average radio show or blog or post on social media, but I'll bring it to you so that we can discuss it. Jeremy likes getting into the weird news. So some of the weird things that you go, oh, I can't believe that this guy speared this guy with a narwhal horn and he's going to jail for it. Or here's a Bigfoot sighting, or whatever it may be. It's more the weirder news that you're not sure if you believe or not. Michael brings the spook. He loves cryptids and phantoms and aliens, and he finds something to talk about every week and usually tries to back it up with evidence of some sort and first-person stories. And then the last segment was usually an improv that we will do a game, Or if we have a guest, we let them do a talking point or whatever it is that the guest would like to do. But we usually come up with something for the fourth segment. And we always aim to be like less than an hour, but usually it's like 90 minutes to 2 hours long. We can't help it. We talk a lot. So we release that every Monday. And if you want to follow along, learn more about Neatcast or past episodes, check out all the social media. It's all online at theneatcast.com.
And while we're at it, let's not forget to talk about your other podcast, Podcasters Assembled. Why don't you talk a little bit about that one as well?
So Podcasters Assemble is a movie hype series, very much akin to I Love the 80s, I Love the 90s style. When you know what shows I'm talking about. You have a variety of celebrities talking about, I love this about the 80s, or this song, or this movie. And this started when they were leading up to Endgame from the MCU, and they covered every film in the MCU up to Endgame, or leading up to Endgame, within a month. And you had anywhere from 5 to 8 podcasters submit their audio, they chopped it up, and they would talk about these movies. And then after Endgame happened, they went, oh, what do we do now? And they've covered a variety of different series over their seasons with movies that are coming out. So the Star Wars Skywalker saga, the James Bond movies, the Jurassic Park movies. We went through the Godzilla movies, Mortal Kombat, Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters. We're currently doing all the Ghibli or Ghibli films, depending on how you pronounce that. I never grew up on these, so for me, it's a fresh watch. I've never seen any of these, and it's a fun trip to see this whole other... I grew up on Disney and Bluth productions, so this is really cool. But then we also do occasional, what we call disassembled episodes, where it's more of a traditional podcast like this, where we've got 4, maybe 6 of us podcasting, talking about a film. And usually those are more recent or an anniversary style, as opposed to the, here's 15 people all chopped up into 2 hours talking about a film, that is an undertaking to edit that together. And I don't envy the editors and the producers on that. So kudos to you, gentlemen.
Bravo. It's a great concept. Really enjoy both shows. And now we are going to start side B.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to kick this off. So I'm just going to hit this nail right on the head, because for an opening song that considerably could be a guilty pleasure, at least for metal fans out there, I don't think there's a more divisive metal moment in the 90s than when Metallica cut their hair.
Oh, very.
And that to me was a moment. People, oh my God, the audacity of them to do that. I chose to kick off side B because people didn't like Load, but people really didn't like Reload for some reason. And yet when I saw Metallica this past summer for the 72 Seasons World Tour, when they kicked into Fuel, the place went nuts. But for some reason, it's still considered like part of the they cut their hair moment. And I don't know, it's still a kick-ass song. My neck's still sore from headbanging at it. Oh, see? You know.
I've got the Razor Star in my arm.
Okay.
Metallica is one of the bands I've seen the most, and I would have loved to have gone to the 72 season show. They just unfortunately had it like one day off, one day. There was no way I could afford the tickets at the time or work it out. So it was like, I've seen them every time since Summer Sanitarium. I had seen them every tour up until that one. I went, I just can't swing it now. Father of Two, different days. I can't do it. Sorry.
We had to divide and conquer, with my wife and I going one night, my daughter and I going the other night, just to kind of break things up a little bit, because it was just so hard to do the scheduling. But I will give it this much. Metallica's closing in on their 60s. I don't know if it would behoove them to go back-to-back nights. And I think the tour could suffer from, so I understand why they're doing it that way. And I'll be honest, they still bring it. I got the CDs from both nights. You were able to order them from the Metallica site. I listened back to the soundboards. Man, for their age, there is no reason on this earth they should still be rocking the way they do. And I'm just going to be the one to say it. I love the Load album. I loved that album. I still do. I think it's Metallica's take on Black Sabbath. Reload, I thought, was a little weaker because of the fact that there were some kind of songs that felt a a little leftovery, but overall, it's a hell of a lot stronger than Saint Anger as far as I'm concerned. So yes, kicking things off with Fuel.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite Metallica songs from the 90s is Fuel, because it's one of those, we don't care, we're in it, it's fast, it's not heavy old stuff, but it is hard rock and it's fast, and I still enjoy it. You can't go wrong with Fuel.
Anyone that gets offended by Metallica in the 90s, bands are allowed to do what they want. AC/DC put out basically the same album for 40, and I love every one of them. Love them. They could put out 50 new albums, and I'm going to love them all the same. I actually respect the fact that Metallica was trying different things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. I'll be honest, not a fan of Lulu. I gave it a listen.
I am there with you. Yep.
I wanted to hear what they were going for, and I did. And then I put it down. And I don't think I've tried it twice since it was released. And both times I was like, maybe time will give me different perspective. And so far it hasn't. So
no, I'm there with you. And someday, if you ever just want to talk Metallica, I will talk Metallica with you. But we are making a mixtape, and I don't want to take up all the time talking about Metallica, although I'd love to. There's a lot of music we still got to get to on side B.
So what are you following up Fuel with?
Gosh, oh man, what's the slowest song I could pick? I'm trying to think something that's gonna be kind of fast-ish. It's not gonna be as hard because one, I don't want to just copy and paste and just continue with something like that. But I think I am gonna stick with the rock theme at the moment, and I've got two I could go with, but I think I'll save that one. And also, I'm not actually sure. I think I just like that one. I don't even think that's a guilty pleasure. But I'm gonna go with Gin Blossom's "Found Out About You."
Oh, Gin
Blossoms, they were one of those 90 bands that I found people were split on. They seemed to. I like Gin Blossoms, but then I talk to someone else, be like, I can't freaking stand them. Why? What is it? I don't know. I just don't like them. Okay. Sorry. And I never had an issue with them. They came and played one of the small venues back in the mid 2010s, and I got to do the interview and meet the band, go backstage with them, and they were so laid back and nice, and they put on a hell of a show to a 400-person crowd. It was great, and I never understood just why people didn't like them. I understand not loving them, but I never did not like their music. I always enjoyed what they played.
I mean, they're associated with Empire Records. So that right there has to be a +1 on Team Gin Blossoms. And then I'm just going to say it. "Found Out About You" is my favorite Gin Blossoms song because it reminds me of the Cars. To me, that was a long lost Cars song. The harmonies, the delivery, it's power pop and it's fun and it's infectious, but it still had that 90s feel, but you could take it back into the 80s and it would have still worked. And that was something I felt like there's a timeless nature to "Found Out About You." And man, I love the Gin Blossoms. So I actually know where I'm going to go from here.
Oh, good. I'm glad I made it easy for you.
Yeah, this one's actually not hard because I went to a tour that was one of those 90s package tours.
Yeah.
And the 90s package tour was Marcy Playground, Lit, Gin Blossoms, a band that I'm about to mention, and then Everclear headlining. And the band that I'm about to mention was a band that when I discovered them, they were opening for Korn. They were a heavy hardcore / punk band. Their album Lemonade and Brownies was getting tons of airplay on college radio stations. And my buddies and I spun this album nonstop. And then a couple years later, they came back with Fly and were a whole new band. However, as much as Fly was a pivot from Lemonade and Brownies, the song Every Morning seemed to be the song that people went, ugh, Sugar Ray. And I always got mad because I'm like, no, they're Lemonade and Brownies. They're Lemonade and Brownies, because they were a heavy hardcore band. And it was such a 180 that I love Lemonade and Brownies as an album so much. I've forgiven everything they've done since, and I've gone to see them several times. And I even enjoy the poppier side of Sugar Ray. But damn it, I wish they did more stuff like Lemonade and Brownies, because they were really good at it.
Mm-hmm. And I actually have, under one of my extras, I had Sugar Ray Fly, featuring Supercat, though, version. You gotta have Supercat. I heard the one without Supercat, and it sounded so foreign to me, because that was the only version I ever heard. And then when he wasn't there, I went, what is this?
It's empty.
This is Fly, but I don't like it's empty. Yes, that was it. It was so empty. But again, it was one of those extra songs where I went, does this fit guilty pleasure, or is it just what I mean? Again, for me, yes, but is it a guilty pleasure for everyone? No. Your pick is definitely a guilty pleasure, in my opinion.
And it's one of those songs that every time it comes on, I never turn it off, and I find myself singing along with the chorus. But then I'm like, God, I got to go put on Lemonade and Brownies next, because it's like it kind of whets your appetite. And if you have not heard Sugar Ray's Lemonade and Brownies, go back and listen to it and have your mind blown, because for the first half of the album, when they're rapping and they're doing hardcore and punk and screaming, you're going to be sitting there going, this isn't the same band, but yes, it is. And now you get to follow up Metallica, Gin Blossoms, and Sugar Ray.
Yeah. I'm gonna continue to pivot. But what do I want to pivot to? I know. Here we go. So this was an artist that I heard a lot on the local stations. We didn't have much radio up in where I grew up, in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So you would hear a lot of the popular stuff as it was dropping. And this artist, I loved her voice, but she was somebody I was never going to go see. Just because, well, I can't go see her. I'm a boy. That'd be weird. But I had the opportunity to see her open up for Heart after the Wilson sisters got in their fight and they separated, and then they came back for a tour, and they're getting along now again. But this little Spitfire put on a hell of a show, was just excited to be out performing live, and then came out with the Wilson sisters later and performed with them. I'm going to add Sheryl Crow, All I Want to Do.
I am not going to lie. I love Sheryl Crow. I have a ton of her albums, and Tuesday Night Music Club is a 90s classic. I think the songs on it are incredible. They hold up. She's an incredible songwriter. And hey, going back to your Michael Jackson pick on side A, she used to sing background vocals for him. So, I mean, she obviously has been in the industry for a long time. I love the fact that she's kind of pivoted a little bit into country music, because her voice always had that tonality, and it works really well, but doesn't seem like you're trying to cram a circle into a square musically. Yeah. It really fits. And she has a song called Prove You Wrong with Maren Morris and Stevie Nicks, and the three of them together, it's a incredible trio of female vocal harmonies. She is one that I think just kind of got lumped into that saccharine 90s pop that I genuinely love. I don't know what the big deal was about it.
So what's fun with Sheryl is I play her on two of the radio stations, and one is a light AC, and you'll hear some Sheryl Crow, but then you will hear the country side of her on the country station. So every once in a while, depending on which station we have playing over the PA, I'll be like, which station is on the PA? I'm hearing Sheryl. Which one is it? Oh, okay. We're listening to the country station today. Okay.
Well, coming out of Sheryl Crow for track 5, I'm going to stick with the female side of things here. And I'm going to go with a song that the band is a one-hit wonder. And this song is very divisive. Either people love it or they hate it. we've covered the song, and I can kind of look at the room and see where the audience lies on this track. Love it for this song. Always have been, always will be. And I think the singer-songwriter for this group is an incredible songwriter. She's had hits with Adele, Alicia Keys, Gwen Stefani, Cheap Trick, Christina Aguilera. However, when you go back to the 90s, one of the first songs that really got people either up in arms or into this group is Four Non Blondes, What's Up? Linda Perry. I think she's got an incredible voice. I love the cover that they do of Misty Mountain Hop on the 90s Zeppelin tribute album. I think the entire album for Four Non Blondes was incredible, but this song ranked number 10 on both Rolling Stone's Readers' Poll of the Worst Songs of the 90s and American Songwriters' 10 Worst Songs of the 90s. I don't know. You work with country stations, so you're aware of this. Lainey Wilson just did a cover of What's Up for her most recent album, and she kind of put a little bit of a country spin on it. A well-written song is a well-written song, and What's Up to me is just a well-written song.
That is a good one. And I actually had Four Non Blondes somewhere over on the side list of, that might be a possibility. I might be able to toss that in there. But I have heard quite a few. We're not pushing a lot of the new music, but we do spin it here and there depending on how it charts, and you'll sprinkle it in here and there. But I have heard just over the past few years of my involvement with country, it's like, wait, this isn't the rock version. Wait, this isn't the pop version. Someone covered this, and it does well on the country station. It's interesting to see that. And with Luke and covering Tracy Chapman with Fast Car, that was one that all of a sudden just exploded. And I remember it from the 90s, and I remember seeing it pop up under the list. And I went, that's not a guilty pleasure song. It can't be. But it also charged my mind with what you're talking about. You take something, it was a good song, it was a popular song, and here's somebody who's paying homage to Tracy, and she performed with them. They did a hell of a duet, which was amazing at the award ceremony. It's awesome to see some of these great songs be reprised and be in a new light, in a new sound, in a new voice. I find it very interesting. And
not to sidebar too much, in the 90s, there was a point where songwriters were selling their songs to multiple artists. And I remember when I Swear was a hit for John Michael Montgomery on country radio and All for One on R&B and pop radio. And that was kind of that crossover appeal. And I think it also happened with Nobody Knows by the Tony Rich Project, was also a country version at the same time. There was a lot of that happening. But that's a total sidebar for another time. But you could make a playlist out of that. And you could do it for decades. You could be like, Manfred Mann to Earth Band. They're the ones known for Blinded by the Light. No one thinks of Springsteen. Yeah, exactly. That's just what people know it for. Putting a pin in a new episode idea. There we go. You're welcome. Glad I could help. So what are you following up What's Up with? Yeah, I like that. Do I want to speed things up? Do I want to kind of stay right there? Oh, man. This one. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, because I know there's people in my station that hate when this one plays, but I can't help it. I can't help it because it was an earworm when I heard it when I was growing up. There was something about it, and we're going to also stick with an artist similar to Cheryl, who has transitioned from where they started to where he is now, is Hootie and the Blowfish, Only Want to Be With You. Because Darius Rucker now is having a pretty good career in country, but in the 90s, this song was everywhere. And they had a few other hits that did do well, but this seemed to be the one for me, all over the place. I know multiple people in my station that when this comes on, they go, "Oh, you're playing it again." So the rotation is slow. It's been 3 days. Calm down. Look, when Hootie and the Blowfish first broke, I was down in college in North Carolina, and my buddies and I said, man, this could be played on country radio and top 40 radio with ease and just slide in and out. And that was something I think that was very endearing about Hootie and the Blowfish, and probably what got them to the popularity that they were, because the 90s was huge for country. And if you had the ability to teeter that line between country and pop, like a Shania Twain, like a Garth Brooks, like Billy Ray Cyrus with Achy Breaky Heart, where you're getting that cross-genre appeal. Another song that could easily fit into the 90s guilty pleasures.
Oh, yeah.
Hootie and the Blowfish had a sound that worked well on two formats. So they were creating two separate audiences that loved them. And to me, there's nothing but respect for that. And Hootie, obviously, well, not Hootie, Darius Rucker, took country. I mean, that poor guy, he probably gets called Hootie like everywhere he goes.
Hootie to his friend.
You can call me Mr. Hoot, thank you. But,
Mr. Hoot, the Blowfish are out back.
And to me, it's one of those groups that, I mean, they were embedded with the Friends lore because of the whole episode where they went to go see them and Monica got the hickey from one of the Blowfish. Hootie and the Blowfish, believe it or not, I actually have every album they've ever released. I still enjoy their stuff. They're a hell of a show if you want to go see it. But Only Want to Be With You is probably their most overplayed song. So I agree with the pick here.
Yeah, it is, but people love hearing it.
It's one of their biggest hits for a reason. And I dropped a bomb at this point of side A with Tom Green's Lonely Swedish. I'm going to drop a bomb here for side B too.
Okay.
And pivot us a little bit. It's a total 180 from Hootie and the Blowfish. It's a cover song. And you know how my feeling about, I love my cover songs. And if you're going to take a song and you're going to reinvent it and make it something new, you better do it right. And this was number 1 on BuzzFeed's 20 Worst Songs of the 90s. And number 8 on Bustle's 18 Annoying 90s Songs that we all listen to obsessively. Again, I really don't get that article title, but I digress. The first time I heard the opening chords to Limp Bizkit's Faith, I said, you gotta be kidding me. They're doing a version of George Michael. And
oh my God, yes. Okay.
When this song kicked in and he starts screaming Faith, I'll be honest, I loved the Faith album in the 80s. When a band had the balls to take this song and just make it this screaming bloody murder, kind of punk rock, kind of hardcore, kind of new metal anthem, I was all in. And Limp Bizkit is one of those hated bands.
Oh, they are.
Like when you think about 90s hatred, they're like, oh, Limp Bizkit. And I don't know how they became kind of maybe it was Woodstock 99. I don't know, but they kind of became the poster child for hated new metal. And I'm not going to lie, I still have tons of their songs on my phone. And hell, I was rocking Dad Vibes when they dropped that on their most recent album. I thought that song had a great groove to it. They're ridiculously talented musicians. Wes Borland's a friggin' genius on guitar. And yeah, Fred Durst is Fred Durst, but not every song needs to be something impactful and meaningful. Sometimes you just need to have fun, and Faith is friggin' fun.
And that is the band having fun. You know, there's been plenty of covers I've heard from rock bands that have put their spin on it. I've heard a fair share, you know, from Metallica. They have albums dedicated to it. You know, God, you almost got like an album from Disturbed. Like it seemed like they were always throwing at least one cover in there. And sometimes I'd hear these covers by these hard rock bands and go, I like it. It's good. And then sometimes you hear it be like, not sure that works. But kudos to you for trying. And Limp Bizkit's Faith was definitely not one of the ones that I listened to a lot or really enjoyed. I remember hearing it going, that is a choice. Well done. Well done, Limp Bizkit. All right, then. You have gotten my attention.
And that, believe it or not, that's what the song did. It got everyone's attention. And it catapulted them to the level they were, because that was the song that broke them. And like, to me, my favorite song is always going to be Break Stuff, unabashedly. I love that track. A 2-chord monster, But Faith was the one that when I would play it for people, they would either go, dude, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard, or, like Beavis and Butthead, this sucks. Like that there was never an in-between. There was never a lukewarm. It was just like visceral hate or all in. And I think the divisiveness is what kind of creates that guilty pleasure lore, at least for Limp Bizkit.
I agree. Now this one, I'm going through my list now, and a lot of the stuff I have now, I'm getting down to, all right, these are now personal experience of me hearing something, enjoying it, and then witnessing other people shit all over it. And at the time, and I still actually like this song. It screams 90s to me, powerful female vocals, but this sticks out to me because it was a song that my dad hated. And it may have been just because my parents were getting divorced and he had a horrible view of women and anything of women, like kind of talking about themselves and how they are. But I always enjoyed this. And I do chuckle the fact that it really pissed him off that he hated this song. But I'm going to go with Meredith Brooks' Bitch.
Really?
Yeah, I like this song.
I love it.
I never understood what was wrong with it. And because just her lyrics, she's just being blunt. She's like, this is who I am. This is what you're going to get. And I think if I'm going to psychoanalyze anybody, or at least the people that I know beyond my father as well that did not like this, it was because they felt challenged by it, by a strong, independent woman / artist who was being this blunt and being at this point of being like, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to be, this is what you're going to get, instead of the more, let's say, traditional approach of past generations. And I think that's why when I was growing up, hearing it and witnessing it from the older generation, I went, I don't get this, but okay, they don't like it.
I think that's a fantastic song. One hit wonder, but what a hit it was. I always thought it was powerful. It was catchy, and it was quote unquote controversial because she was somehow able to get away with using bitch multiple times in a song.
That was also part of it, I think, was that it was, maybe offensive wasn't the right word, but it was challenging authority with being able to say this inappropriate word over and over during daytime radio. How dare you? My children could hear this. Let me go drop an F-bomb in the next room when I hit my hand with a thumb, but that's fine.
Well, I will say this. The night that I met my wife and I met up in New Hampshire at a dance club in West Lebanon at the time, going back 20-something years ago.
Uh-huh.
And my buddy and I were driving to this club with a group of us. We were all meeting there, and we're listening to the radio in New Hampshire, a rock station, and they were playing Candlebox You. And the whole song, my buddy and I are sitting there going, there is no way they got the balls to play the uncensored version. There's no way they're going to play the uncensored version. They're going to cut out. And all of a sudden, the third verse started kicking in. I'm like, dude, this is the album cut. Either the DJ doesn't know, or they're going to play the album cut, or they figured out a way to cut the F-bomb out of the song. And we're driving along, and hand to God, may I be struck by lightning, both F-bombs got dropped in the song, and it blew our mind that this was 8 o'clock on New Hampshire radio, and they played the studio cut on accident. And we were like, we thought we were witnessing something that was kind of like epic. We're like, whoa, I can't believe this happened. And I always tell my wife that story. She goes, that's what you remember from the night we met? I'm like, you don't hear that often. You'd hear it in The Who Are You, or Jet Airliner by Steve Miller, but never Candlebox.
Yep. No, even with Fuel. There's an F-bomb in Fuel that we play. I mean, unless it's a very blatant F-drop, we play the unedited versions of almost all these songs because, in my opinion, that's what they were intended to be. But if it's blatant, I forget which one it is from Pink Floyd, but I had to edit that one out because, What Do You Want From Me?
Yeah.
That one was very blatant.
Yes.
I couldn't let that one go through.
Jet Airliner, Who Are You?
It fits.
I mean, as a kid, you're sitting there going, when it happened. All right. Coming out of Bitch, I've got one song left, and I am so torn because there are two bands that I want to go to here. Because I feel like these two bands caught so much hate over the 90s that I want to spotlight. I'd love to spotlight both of them, but I'm down to one pick. So I'll give you a choice. Do we want to go upbeat and happy, or do we want to go big, anthemic, and soaring, coming out of Meredith Brooks's Bitch?
Oh boy. Oh man. Well, now I have to think about what I want to end with, because this would affect. So what are my two big, upbeat, and what?
Upbeat and fun, little boppy kind of fun, or
Yeah.
big soaring rock anthem.
Let's do. Personally, I've never been a fan of ending on an anthem. I'd rather end with an upbeat kind of thing than kind of the if it's a slower anthem. So why don't you go with the? I'll try to end on the upbeat if you want to do this awesome anthem.
Let's go with the anthem then. Should I spoil what the upbeat song was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, probably go ahead, but I may also be shooting myself in the foot by having you do this anthem if it's what I think it is, but continue.
Okay, well, the upbeat song was Smash Mouth All-Star because the song just was everywhere, inescapable. Yep. It was in movies, TV shows, commercials. I mean, like you were in Kohl's and the song was always played. It was everywhere.
Couldn't escape it.
And I'll be honest, I love Smash Mouth. Walking on the Sun is one of my favorite songs of the 90s. And then All-Star made them kind of this hated band. And I never understood it because I think the song was just too popular for its britches. But I am going to go with a song that kind of became the poster child for the term butt rock. And we're going to go with Creed and Higher.
Okay.
I saw Creed play this song at a radio show at Irving Plaza in New York City. The lineup was Oleander, Our Lady Peace, and Creed. 1999. All three of the bands commanded the stage, and Creed debuted Higher that night. Human Clay came out the next day. When they played this song, you looked out in the audience and people were just blown away by the song. And I said to my buddy, this thing is going to be friggin' massive, this song. And it was. But then it became so massive, it kind of became the poster child for that term butt rock, which I don't like. It's just hard rock music. I mean, all those bands that they kind of lump into that, it was just kind of a derogatory blabbermouth term that I really feel like, hell, Creed is selling out cruises now. They're back in 2024. They're doing tours again. Did they have their moments that might have been a little off? Sure, but I go back and listen to the first few Creed albums, and there's a lot of great music on there. And I don't understand, maybe it was the, I don't want to say religious nature of some of the lyrics. Maybe I don't know what it was, but Creed got the Nickelback hate before Nickelback hate became Nickelback hate.
I was actually going to make that next point was going to be Creed was pre-Nickelback because I think the similarities between Creed and Nickelback are you can listen to some Creed songs and go, okay, this is rock. But then you get something like Higher. And then all of a sudden, I remember one of my teachers, because we would just have CDs playing in our IT class just when we were doing work. And Higher was coming from somebody's PC through the speakers. And he's like, whatever that is, you turn off that chick music. And he was former military. And he was just like, yeah, goddamn Creed music, and went off about it. And it was like, okay, we know he doesn't like Creed. Wow. And Nickelback, I think, took what Creed was doing, and they said, hold my beer. And they went so much further because they have been so successful that people hate them, partially for their success, also because they have songs that are fast, hard rock songs, and then they have this softer side, which shows range, but in many people's views, I think, is I don't know, just taking a soft approach to being what you're supposed to be known for rocking out, as the band Nickelback. But I did see them live in concert, and they put on a hell of a show. So I don't know what people, I know why people don't like them, but also at the same time, I can go see them live and go, it was still a good show.
I'll say this, Creed and Nickelback were both modern era Bon Jovi. To me, Bon Jovi did it in the 80s. They had hard rock and heavy songs that the guys liked. You Give Love a Bad Name. That was a good hard rock song. Let It Rock.
Mm-hmm.
But then you had your power ballads. And they did it so well. And Nickelback just kind of took the same formula. And so did Creed. We got the heavier side. We got the lighter side. And it works. They're still selling out stadiums and arenas. And so what? Who cares? So yeah, I put Creed on here. I know people. I know there's going to be somebody who's going to be angry at that one.
You're going to get some hate, which means I can't let you be alone. I can't let you be alone.
I appreciate
that.
Let's
see. I am going to end with something that will probably get a little bit of hate as well, so that we can share this together, because I feel we've really bonded over the past an hour and 20 minutes or however long it's been. There's a lot I could choose with, but I'm going to choose something that's upbeat, quick, annoying for many people, and they're really, really popular now with Dune coming out. It's Spice Girls Wannabe.
Yes! Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look, if Zebrahead covers the song in punk rock fashion, just like I said about Aqua's Barbie Girl, that's a stamp of approval. That's the Zebrahead stamp of approval. Zebrahead has an entire album out called Panty Raid, and it's all punk versions of female songs. It's a really fun album. Get This Party Started, Wannabe, all these good female pop songs, and they went and punkized them. And it's so much fun, such a great listen. I loved Wannabe when it came out. I was in a punk band in the early 2000s, and in the middle of our song, we would break out to the rap part of Wannabe just in punk form, just because the song was so much fun. It was so infectious. God, there's not a bad thing about this song, but I will tell this story because one of my closest friends on the planet, Bob, and I were back in college together. He is now my daughter's godfather. And we went to the theater one night. We're like, let's just go catch a flick. We're not tired. It was a 9:00 showing of 2 movies. We had a choice. And it was the Spice Girls, whatever that was called, Spice World movie.
Oh, yeah. Spice World.
Or Deep Rising with Treat Williams. And we went with Deep Rising. And Deep Rising was one of the worst horror movies. It was about this alien creature on a submarine, whatever.
Oh, yes.
The opening scene of the movie, this person sits on the toilet and the being just sucks them into the toilet. Never breaks the actual toilet, though. The whole human body just kind of, like, it was so bad, it was brilliant. And we laughed so hard through that movie. But for the last almost 30 years, we were like, what would have happened if we saw Spice World instead? It's always become it was like the fork in the road, and we went to Deep Rising instead of Spice World.
Did we choose the right universe? Should we have gone, were you the catalyst that has brought us to this place in this universe? Not. Brian, damn it.
But at the end of the day, what a great way to close out Side B, a very eclectic Side B of our guilt-free 90s guilty pleasures, which kicked off with Metallica's Fuel, Gin Blossoms, Found Out About You, Sugar Ray's Every Morning, Sheryl Crow's All I Want to Do, Four Non Blondes, What's Up, Hootie and the Blowfishes, Only Want to Be With You, Limp Bizkit's Faith, Meredith Brooks' Bitch, Creed's Higher, and Spice Girls' Wannabe. Head over to myweeklymixtape.com to hear all the songs we've discussed in this mix through the playlist embedded on the episode page. Now, Zach, why don't you remind people how they can connect with you and learn more about Neatcast?
You don't want to do that, but if you feel obligated to, I am still, the most interactive I am through the social medias is through Twitter or X, whatever you call it, at Zack Deuce. For everything with Neatcast, you easily just go to theneatcast.com. And everything that we do with Podcasters Assemble, it is at probablywork.com. But I post whatever I'm doing on the Twitter, on my feed. So if I'm doing something with, I don't know, somebody making a mixtape or something like that, I'll be sharing it there as well.
Well, it has been way too long. I am so glad we were finally able to make this happen. Zack, thank you so much for joining me on My Weekly Mixtape, and I'm looking forward to doing this with you again, hopefully not in another couple of years.
I will gladly come back whenever you want me to, and we will set up a time to have you come regret joining us on Neatcast.
Would love it. And remember, mixtapers, you can find My Weekly Mixtape on almost all the social media haunts at My Weekly Mixtape. You can also head to myweeklymixtape.com to check out the full catalog of My Weekly Mixtape episodes. And if you like what you're hearing on the show, you can help me out by either telling a friend, leaving the show a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in, or becoming a Patreon mixtaper at patreon.com/My Weekly Mixtape. There you can enjoy ad-free episodes of the show, chime in on future episodes, become a future guest, and so much more. That's all for this week. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, enjoy the tunes.